Hello and welcome. Welcome to the Red Wagon Estate Planning and Elder Law Show, hosted by me, yours truly, Jeffrey Belomo, where we discuss all things estate planning and elder law, and well, hey, anything else we want to talk about. And today is going to fall under the and anything else we want to talk about category. I have a dear friend of mine with me today, Anthony Billet. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, Jeff. How are you?
I'm doing really well, man. So we had the pleasure of sharing office space together for some time and got to know him personally, and I can personally vouch for a wonderful human being that he is, and I'm really looking forward for him to tell us a little bit about himself and about abSketches and everything they're doing. They're doing some incredible things there, and I look forward to sharing it with my listeners. Just as always, a reminder and my disclaimer, please do not take legal advice from this show or any other show for that matter. If you're looking for legal advice, please call an attorney in your area who practices in the area that you're looking for to receive legal advice. This show and every other radio show is for informational entertainment purposes only. Please seek legal advice for specific legal questions. And I don't think we'll have any issue with that today since we're not talking about estate planning and elder law. But I always like to just put that disclaimer out there. And just a reminder, at Belomo and Associates, we do estate planning and elder law. And if you're looking for education, we offer weekly workshops for free in the areas of estate planning, as well as crisis and Medicaid planning, special needs planning, trust administration, as well as probate administration. So if you're looking for anything in those areas and you are in the state of Pennsylvania, we would love to assist you, particularly if you're in and around the York and Lancaster areas, as we have offices in York and Lancaster. So, Ann, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you guys do.
So my name's Anthony Billet. I am the president of abSketches, and we are a visual marketing agency. So what that means is we work with developers, architects, product companies, and we create visuals of things that don't yet exist to help raise money for their upcoming projects. So that's the short. That's the short of what we do, but we get into all kinds of cool, fun stuff. On a more molecular level, such as renderings, animations, websites, VR, AR, you name it. If it's visual and it's going to help to see what is, in the future, I guess you could say, we certainly that's what we do.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I've seen some of them kind of as they come out, and it is just fascinating. Is that all computer generated, or how does that even work? Like, I have no concept.
Yeah, so yes and no. For the most part, we model everything in 3D, but we also do go and take a lot of photography so that we can kind of blend the models and the renderings in with photos so that it looks more photorealistic, and contextually the owner can see their product in its environment. So to us, it's really important to make everything kind of blend and mesh so that you don't really know if it's real or not. It's our goal to make it look as real as possible.
Wow, I was always wondering how you did that, because it doesn't exist yet, but it looks like it does. Like, you'd swear that building was standing there.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Yeah, it's incredible. And how did you get into it? Like, what brought you to this field? I've always wanted to ask you that.
So my dream or goal was always to become an architect, and my grades were awful in high school. I barely got into college. I really only got in because of sports, and so my goal was go to a state school. I went to East Stroudsburg University. And spend 2 years there, and then transfer to Penn State, and then get my architectural degree there. But I was an honor roll student. I was doing really well in school, and I thought, well, I'll just graduate here, and then I'll get my master's from Penn State or some architectural school, and I'll pursue architecture that way. And After I graduated, life kind of takes over, and I did work in an architectural capacity. I was a project manager for a couple architectural firms and construction firms. So I did a lot of architectural work throughout my career, and through that process, I learned how to do all kinds of different three-dimensional modeling and design work and so forth. And then when the economy in the early 2000s crashed, I was one of the last people at our company to get let go. And of course, to supplement my income, I needed to find a solution to the career choice I was in, because the whole AEC, architectural, engineering, construction fields were pretty decimated. So I took my design and 3D skills, and I started marketing myself to the Middle East, whose economy was doing really well at the time. If you remember, the gas prices were like, what, $5 a gallon or what? I was living in California at the time, and I just remember that it was like $5 a gallon. So I started marketing myself to them, and I got connected with a few of the developers. Well, actually, I think one of the largest developers in Saudi Arabia, Keenan International, and we did a bunch of projects for them, or I did at that time, and we won some, international awards, and then of course the sheiks and the princes and everybody started wondering who they were using, and so that's kind of how it all got started. At that point, then we had to start hiring people, and it just kind of turned into a business, and 14 years later, we're still doing the same thing. Although we've really evolved into more of a marketing agency versus just a rendering and animation studio. So we work with all kinds of different companies outside of architecture as well.
And I know you. I mean, I know you do a lot of projects locally and in the States, but are you still doing a lot overseas as well?
Yeah. We're very fortunate that locally we get to work on some of the larger, more well-known projects, like the Yorktowne, for instance. But really, our work is probably only like 3 to 5% local. Everything else is in larger cities or globally. So the stuff we do locally has a high visibility rate, but we don't get to do a whole lot, unfortunately.
Wow. Yeah, but you're right though. It feels that way because you have all the bigger ones, so it's like, oh, he got that one. Oh, he got that one. But you're right. It's just a couple, but they're big. That's huge. So I'm dying to know,
Yeah.
since you did the Yorktown, have you been there since it opened?
Yeah, we had a tour, or everyone at the company went the day before it opened. So yeah, we went through everything, all the rooms, saw the rooftop, and it's beautiful. They really did a fantastic job.
That's awesome. Was it what you envisioned? I mean, I don't know if that's a fair question, but
Well, yeah,
is it what you were thinking?
it looks almost exactly like all of our renderings.
Was it really?
Sorry, I didn't.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it looks fantastic.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. I know that's a naive question coming from somebody who doesn't understand but that is so neat. That has to be so fulfilling for you to walk through and be like, yep, that's exactly what it was supposed to look like.
Yeah, it is, but it's not a naive question at all. A lot of times we'll provide imagery or visuals for a project, and then by the time it actually gets built, there's been so much value engineering, and things change. So we'll walk in, and sometimes it's a little underwhelming, but the Yorktowne certainly was not. It looks almost one-to-one with everything we had put together for them. So it's always neat to walk into a project that you've spent a lot of time in, and it meant something to us because it's right down the street from our office. So when it looked exactly like what we created, it was exciting. Yeah.
Heck yeah, I'll actually be there this weekend for the first time. So I'm looking forward to walking around and seeing everything. So yeah, I'm excited. I hear great things about it. So that's awesome. That is so cool. And
It's beautiful.
I guess most of your business is coming from probably previous business, I assume, huh? From word of mouth?
Yeah, we most of our marketing and sales efforts are pretty much referral based, word of mouth. It's very organic. We're in the process right now of hiring a salesperson and building a sales team. So that certainly will help ramp things up as far as growth goes. But up to this point, it's been very organic, which I think speaks very highly of our team, our business practices, that architects or developers, people that at the end of the day typically compete with our other clients, and for them to refer us to their competition because of how easy it is to work with us and the quality that we put out is, it's very flattering, and we certainly appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, I from knowing you as long as I have, the one thing I've always said is for as talented as you are and as amazing as you are, I think you're an even better human being and a better man. So that says a lot, man. I respect the heck out of you, and I look up to you for sure.
Well, I appreciate that, Jeff, because coming from you, that's I know your standards are very high, and you're an incredible guy as well. So that certainly means a lot. Thank you.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah, and the other thing we share, we talked briefly about it one day, but both of our companies run on EOS, and I find that was very intriguing
Yeah.
when you were telling me that day when we kind of learned that we each other is using that operating system, and I know it certainly helped us tremendously kind of streamline our meetings and be able to spot issues and really focus on the stuff that matters. And yeah, has there been anything for you that stuck out for you since you've started running on it?
It just helps us get things done. In the past, we would just say, "Hey, we got to do this, we got to do this," and it would just never happen. So it just keeps everybody accountable. It keeps us pushing and moving in the right direction. It's very simple at its very foundational level, but what it's been able to help us accomplish and get done has been incredible. And it's one of those things where I was always, I don't know if the proud's the word, but I was always afraid to ask people for help or to ask questions, or I always thought I had to figure everything out on my own. And EOS has really opened a door to other professionals such as yourself. And I mean, it's amazing the amount of people who run on that operating system, who run their businesses. And once I started asking people, how did you scale? How did you go from 10, 15 people 1 year, and 2 years later you're at 60 people? How did you do that? There's got to be something. And more often than not, the company started using EOS right when that explosion happened, or some company very similar to that. And we're in the midst of that as well. We're experiencing that. We're already at 50% growth, and we've only been doing it for I don't know how many months. I mean, it's been less than a year. So, it's just amazing.
Yeah, I love it. And I'll tell you, about 2 weeks ago, I guess it was, we were in Indianapolis for the conference, the EOS conference. And as you know, I travel quite a bit for conferences, and I've been all over the country. And it was, bar none, the best conference I've ever been to in my entire life. And we are bringing the entire leadership team next year. It's in San Diego. And we're going to be the entire leadership team. I'm actually going to make it mandatory moving forward for my leadership team to come with me to attend every conference. It was amazing. And the practical stuff that came out of it was just mind-blowing. And I regret not having been there. My team leader, as you know, Jenna, she was there last year, and she came back and said, "You have to go next year. Like, I don't care what you have going on, you have to go." And it was well worth it, man. Well worth it. Definitely. So
Yeah.
So I'm
We
just
just got our
curious, do you have a
invitation for
favorite
San
project
Diego,
you've ever worked on? Is there one that you remember?
What's that?
Is there a favorite project that you've ever worked on that you kind of remember the most or had the most fun on? Or I'm just to kind of wrap up the what you do kind of thing. I'm just curious.
It's funny. I get asked that question a lot, and
Okay.
there's projects that we've done. There's projects we've done where I'm proud because it's a really big name project, and typically those projects we have NDAs on, and we're not allowed to talk about.
Oh, gotcha.
And so there. Well, I can tell you, we just recently did a project for NEOM in Saudi Arabia called The Line. I don't know if you've seen it anywhere, but it's this giant glass-walled city,
No.
and we worked on that for like 2 years for a project, and that was something that we were really proud of. But it was probably the highest profile project we've ever worked on. But with that being said, there's so many challenges that you have to work through over those 2 years, and so from the standpoint of high profile, that's probably been our biggest. But I have to say, anything local in New York that we get to see and we get to interact with and be a part of,
Yeah.
that's always the stuff that I enjoy working on most, because it's making our city better, it's making York better. So for me, I enjoy working on projects that are making New York a better place.
That's cool. Have you ever been to Saudi Arabia or any of overseas to see any of the work you've done over there, or no?
No, they send pictures once in a while, but I've never been there in person to
That's
see any of
awesome.
it.
Very cool. Well, if somebody was looking to
I don't know
find
if all
you
my tattoos and
and,
stuff.
and contact, yeah, go ahead, Anthony.
I was just gonna say, with all my tattoos and stuff, I don't know how well I would fare over there. I, yeah, so yeah. Anyhow, you might want.
That's funny. That's funny. Oh man, how would a person find your website? How would they locate you?
www.absketches.com. It's all one word: absketches.com. And then, of course, we're on all social medias for the most part.
Awesome.
So a search for AB Sketches would probably get you there.
Awesome. Very good, man. Well, I can't thank you enough. It's always great catching up with a good friend, and especially one who's knocking it out of the park and is always humble and a great human being. So please check out my friend Anthony Billet with AB Sketches. And certainly, if you have any upcoming projects, give them a call. I'll be more than willing to look at it and see if it's a fit for both of you. And just a plug out there for anybody looking to scale and grow quickly in business. Certainly, I'm loving my time at EOS, and I know Anthony is as well. So to all of my listeners at the Red Wagon Estate Planning and Elder Law Show, I want to thank you for joining us today, as I was joined with Anthony Billet with AB Sketches, and we got to talk a lot about different projects that he has going on and some high-profile things that they have done and he's enjoyed doing along the way. So I'd like to thank you, as always, for joining us on the Red Wagon Estate Planning and Elder Law Show. And until next time, we'll see you real soon.